Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested in migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side once for all the updates and news. You'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now only a few weeks to go till the end of 2024, so we are still waiting for two major policies that's being prepared and planned to be announced by late 2024, as that's what the government's trying to say. So that's skills and demand visa and also the national innovation visa. Now this week has been a very exciting or shocking, or whichever the way that you want to describe, crazy week or whatever it is. You must know about what's happening in US. The elections has finished, and knowing that the president-elect is going to be the Donald J. Trump. So we're going to talk about a little bit in regards to the politics, in regards to especially on the topic of the right-wing politics. So the return of the right-wing politics, how would that actually affect the policies? Now obviously the policy is what Donald Trump has promised is to remove illegal aliens. That's all the illegal migrant. So the definition or the name called in Australia will be unlawful citizens. But in the United States, they call it illegal aliens. So it's the same thing. So basically, people entering the country illegally, unlawfully, not the right way to do it. And also, they are gonna stop the automatic citizenship rights towards anyone who has birth inside of USA. So they're gonna stop all those birthing tourisms and the people going to just few weeks or few months before they giving birth, they travel to United States to give birth. So the child, the baby, will have automatically getting a citizenship of USA. So they gotta do a probably not redefine, but reinterpretation of how that law actually should be. Now, obviously, this is not directing to Australia, but what is going to happen? There is a pattern of what is going to happen in USA will have an indirect influence or effect to Australia. Pretty obvious. So when Donald Trump was as a former president, that's before Joe Biden, the governing party of Australia was the Liberal National Party. So that was the party that's considered in Australia the right wing. The current Labour Party ruling in Australia is considered to be left wing. So left wing generally is they're talking about multiculturalism. They want to embrace everybody. People come in. So sometimes they are. The right wing call them weak towards the refugee problem because they want to embrace everyone. They see the weak, they see people come in with the lost and vulnerability. They want to include them into the group, but the right wing does the opposite. Right wing wants to keep them out. So seems to be what we have already seen. What's happening in US will probably duplicate the same result for the next general election in Australia. Now, we don't want to go so far debating about what left wing or right wing does, but we want to look closely to what have been recently been happening just right before and around the pandemic. So when COVID hit, what happened is obviously the economy is tumbling down. So Trump lost his elections. I think a major factor is due to the COVID issue, the pandemic, and so was the Liberal National Party, because they had a strict control on immigration, and the Australians were happy about it. But when the COVID came, they asked all the migrants leave Australia, so all of them left. And then they found out without migrants in Australia, there's shortage in labor workforces. Even in the supermarket, no one is moving the stocks, putting things back on the stock, and there's a lot of problems. So Australia does heavily rely on migrants. So then obviously the Liberal National, the right wing so-called, lost the elections, and then the Labor came on 2022. However, it has been 3 years since. So what had happened is the inflation control, the cost of living, driving out living issue has not really been pressed down. So the left wing we have just witnessed human history that the left wing had lost their governing right in United States. So I believe that this will probably duplicate in Australia for next year's general election in May, which has already we have already witnessed. Just 1 week before the US election was the state of Queensland had an election, so Liberal National took over and won the election in the state of Queensland, as the Labor has actually governing the state of Queensland for 9 years. Can you imagine 9 years of governing, lost? And then the right wing came on. So this will perhaps to be true. So what will happen? What will happen when the right wing comes back to govern Australia? What will happen to the immigration policy? So I would like to talk about this now. I'm not saying the right wing won't welcome the migrant, but they will be more selective. And the right wing is more usually towards, they're more business oriented. They wanted to build businesses. So they are more welcome in the technological engineers, health tech and things like that kind of people, rather than focusing too much on the family. And too much on the other side is the protection, refugee, and visa. So the right wing is more focused on investments and technology, more of those kind of stuff related. So what would that actually happen? So I recall back in 2021 or 22, there was something that I've done a video with that came out from the Australian Strategic Policy Institute. They're talking about Australia should go for moonshot to get themselves semiconductor ready, just like how Japan has called on TSMC to build a manufacturing, and US Arizona has called on TSMC to build a manufacturing there capability. So is India. India has called a lot of tech from Asia to go over and build those factories over there to get themselves high-tech ready. So is Europe. Germany has recently just break the ground to invite TSMC. TSMC stands for Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. They manufacture 90% all the highly advanced chips around the world. So they got to do that there. Now, Australia has done nothing thus far. So what had happened was, this was published back in 2022. Now, what happened in 2022, early on that year, I believe was May as well, the election went on in Australia, and Labor took the control back to its hand. Obviously, then the Liberal National Party lost on that election there. So everything changed. Now, before that, there was the invention of so-called the global talent visa. If you notice, the visa actually they were open up to, I think it was 15,000 or 13,000 quota on the tech talents all around the world. Nowadays, Labor has squeezed that all the way down to only 4,000 placements. That's about 3 times less than what we more or less than the previous Liberal government had before. So what will happen next year? What will happen next year is it will be exciting. So I recall there were a website built by the Liberal government back then. It was called Global Australia. Now the Labor government has took over the control and changed the Global Australia to something like this. The Global Australia's website was, I think it's more attractive. They actually attract a lot of talents, and we can feel that the government back then really want a lot of tech talents, those tech talents, and they just accept them, invite them to come. But now the Labour government seems to be well, they're calling for investors, opportunity for investors and buyers, rather than getting talents. So they only want to sell whatever that they have. But in the tech sector, we gotta understand this is that the if you're without the talents, there's no innovation, there's no creation. You cannot just have a factory, or cannot just whatever the mineral underneath your ground, and you do not know how to really utilize, or have a better potential to actually create more incentive. It really requires innovation from talents. That means people. So anyway, I think to conclude today's video, I like to say that if everything duplicates, so Australian politics duplicate from the US, the right wing, that means the Liberal National Party comes back in control. I think more of businesses oriented policies. That includes I think all the general skill visa will remain, but the investment visa and the global talent visa, which was coined by the Liberal National Party back then, should really be revived. Whether or not they'll call it, the new name National Innovation Visa, but they probably will provide much more quota towards the ratio. It will be actually bigger compared to what they have given currently. Now we also note that the Liberal National Party, the opposition leader Peter Dutton, has said that he wanted to further decrease the permanent intake of the migrants down to, I think what was I believe was 1,600 or 1,400. 160,000 or 140,000. That's a lot more down. But whether or not he's gonna do it, I'm not too sure. But I'm pretty sure what I wanted to say in this video is that under the right wing, they will increase the quota, the percentage of the tech talent visa a lot more than what the Labour is actually offering now. Anyway, should you have more questions or query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.